Welcome to the first episode of the Top 1%er podcast, where we encompass more than wealth creation, but actually focusing on improving the quality of life and finding a meaningful, fulfilled lifestyle. We call this a life by design, and actually striving to live our best lives and become our best versions of ourselves, right?
It's a constant battle.
It is a constant battle, but that's why we're doing this podcast, is because this life is so important. And we only have one life, and we need to create a life by design. We really need to strive to create this lifestyle. So today, guys, we're going to talk about kind of our backgrounds and share our stories and how we came to this position where we actually have a podcast now and what we're doing with Top 1%er. And so I just want to start off by introducing you to this guy, Braun Thueson. I think a lot of you guys probably already know him or follow him on social media. But Braun's one of the best guys I know. You know, we go back almost 20 years with a working relationship, which is crazy. We've been business partners for such a long time. You know, our relationship goes beyond a working relationship. It's truly a genuine friendship and brotherhood, right?
Yeah. It's
Um,
been a long time, but man, these relationships, the way it's unfolded, I never thought it was going to be like this. Honestly, I mean, I don't even think you know this, but when I first started working with Adam, I felt like man, I'm kind of doing a lot of the grunt work on a business standpoint. And he was coming in and taking all of the credit. And what I realized over a long period of time was that I shouldn't be thinking like this, because Adam does way more than I am, way more than I ever thought he did.
that's funny.
I don't even think you ever knew that, but
Never knew that.
yeah. Didn't think
Uh,
it was going to progress to this though.
no way. And we don't know where this is going to take us. Like, this
Yeah.
is a new chapter in our lives of what we're doing with Top 1%er. And there's just so much content and information.
We need to get out there.
Probably we have to get it out. We've been taking it for granted. I feel like we have been mentored by, we see now, billionaires, multimillionaires, people worth nine figures that we've been spoon fed by for the last 2 decades,
Yeah.
right? And this is information that we really have taken for granted. We didn't realize what was right in front of us while we had it. And it's created this life that we live now, this lifestyle that we're blessed to have. And it's based off of a lifestyle of principles and habits that we've been spoon fed our whole lives. And we didn't realize how
Not
good we
knowing
had
it.
it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we're taking this information, we want to share it with the world. I feel like it is just, you can't put a price tag on the information that we're given, but it is truly information from mentor to mentor being passed down from billionaires to multimillionaires to us, and now going out there. And everybody's got to realize that the road to success, other people have already walked that road
It's already paved.
hundreds of times. And you can either try to figure out that road on yourself and make mistakes, or you can model your success after somebody else and just follow on their notes and follow off their habits and principles and the things that they've done that is proven and it works.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. That's what we're sharing. And we hope that it blesses, everybody else's lives that gets involved with this, and that Top 1%er becomes a brand that is known for sharing this information, the meritocracy of just sharing valuable information with other people that you really can't put a price tag on.
No, we've had, I think we've been in sales and leadership career for 20 years together. And if there's anything that I've been grateful for, is that other people are willing to share what they know. There was a time in the company we worked with where it was like, no, we're not sharing any of our secrets. It took a lot to get other people, or it just took a lot to get these, like, quote unquote secrets of sales and things that they were doing out to the company. But once they did, it's crazy how much we actually blew up. And there's no reason why we can't share some of the things that we've messed up on so that others don't have to. And then some of the things that we've had a lot of success in to help pave that way for other people.
Yeah. Well, part of one of my favorite principles is from the book Atlas Shrugged, talks about an abundance mindset, right? When you live
Yeah.
life in an abundance mindset, instead of that mindset that we used to have, which was a scarcity mindset, where we're scared to share our success stories with other people because then they might be our competitors, right?
Yeah.
In our same industry.
Hmm.
But what we saw was the opposite. Once people started sharing and having an abundance mindset and sharing best practices, it actually made everybody better. Everybody profited more. And I really believe that by us sharing these tools, these resources, this information, this mentoring, not only does it help other people, but it also introduces us to other people and networks us with other people and makes us better as well while we're sharing this information. And we all live in an abundant mindset.
I think secretly this is a little selfish of us as well because of what you exactly what you said is that there's going to be that we're going to come in contact with people and we are going to be the benefactors of this
Hmm.
more than anyone else.
Yep. So you're welcome and thank you. Right.
Yes.
So I think, Braun, people, we're pushing 40, right? I'm 39. How old are you?
That was I'm 41.
We're the old dogs on the street
Yeah.
now. I remember when we were in our 20s and we're trying to make it. We didn't have a path, we didn't have direction. I think a lot of people relate with the story, relate with the struggle. They don't relate with the hero and they don't relate with the person that's at the top of the mountain
Yeah.
because they're unrelatable,
Yep.
right?
Absolutely.
They have 20 years of experience on them and it's just unrelatable. I want to give a message today that is very relatable, where we tell our story that we weren't born into money. We weren't born into success. We weren't born and given the silver spoon that just handed us, a trust fund. We're not trust fund babies or anything like this. Our success has been grown and developed over time as we grew and developed, right? And it's really funny. I think what we'll come to at the end of this is that we come from two very different backgrounds and we ended up on the same path somehow. And now we're here where we're at right now and go in the same direction. I think there are so many people out there that don't have a path, that don't have a vision, that don't understand what's achievable. Just like us when we were 19 and 18, we didn't know what was achievable.
No.
I thought success meant you have to be a lawyer or a doctor to have success. I didn't know what was out there. And so I guess for you, I would love to hear your story. I know that you didn't come from money, but I would love to hear how you were raised, where you were raised, what your dad did for work. And let's just start there. And as you were growing up in probably high school, what did you want to be? What did you aspire to be at that point?
Honestly, I didn't aspire to much. But in high school it wasn't I don't think I had a goal of being anything great. And
So where did you grow
the
up and start there?
so I was born in Idaho Falls and I grew up in West Jordan, Utah and South Jordan, Utah. And
That's the nicest part of Utah, right?
West Jordan? No.
Just kidding. You
There's
don't you don't go to West Jordan
yeah,
late at night.
yeah, that's an area that if you yeah, you don't. So and but yeah, I grew up there and we didn't have a lot growing up. I think we were probably a little bit below average on an income. I mean, I didn't know that. That's one thing that was great about my parents is they never like we always had enough.
Yeah.
Enough, we always had what we needed. Regardless of, we had roof over our heads, shelter, but I think more than anything, I felt like I was so blessed because of what my parents taught me at a young age, as I was growing up. It's funny, money was never it never really, I never even had big grasp of money. It was, and honestly, I didn't even think about the principles my dad was teaching me at that age. But looking back on it, I had enough, and my dad not just had enough physically, but my mom and dad taught me so many things mentally that helped push me through life.
So talk to us about a couple of those things. So they didn't ever talk to you about money or the lack of it or what they were doing with money? Do you remember any of those kind of conversations?
Not a lot. It was a lot in my home. It was a lot of visionary stuff. It was a
Okay.
lot of goal boards or like vision boards of where we wanted to be as a family, what we wanted to accomplish. They were all over the place. Every time I took a leak, I would look on the wall or straight ahead, and there was a picture of us, of a family on vacation on an island
A
somewhere.
random family on vacation.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it
like a
wasn't
vision
us,
board.
but yeah, yeah, vision board. And everywhere we lived was on the fridge, it was on the hallway, everywhere
That's
we
awesome.
looked, it was there. And so that was just something that we always looked forward to doing. And I remember we had, vacation was one of them. And I remember going to Disneyland for the first time. And that was the most epic thing in the world because we had it on this vision board or we had it on the wall of Disneyland as a vacation. And we ended up going and it was like, you know, 10 out of 10 on an experience level at the time.
It's awesome. Did you drive like the family station wagon and that
Let's
kind of
see.
stuff, or did you
I
fly?
no, we had I don't honestly I don't remember, but I doubt we flew. I think we drove a Toyota, one of the minivan Toyotas that were like cut off on the front.
The flat nose?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah. So anyways, but the vision board was really big growing up. Money wasn't really like a big topic in the home, but it was never like anything w- we were I'm sure we were struggling at some points and then
Yeah,
other times we were fine, but that just wasn't there were other things that my parents always had us thinking about.
it's awesome. What did your dad do for work?
He worked in the automotive industry, creating software for companies like AutoZone, Checker Auto. I think those ones are actually out of business.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah, like part stores.
So when you saw your dad growing up, did he talk to you like, hey, you need to go to college to get a degree? Like, did he instill into your mind like the traditional means of go to school, get good grades, get a safe and stable job, get a retirement? Like, was that talked about at all in high school or anything like that?
It wasn't. It was, I needed to have good grades because I think my parents just wanted me being a good kid. But it wasn't, you had to have straight A's. And it wasn't thinking about, I don't think my parents thought about college because I don't know at the time that they were going to think about paying for a big college for me to
Yeah.
go to, right? It was just going to be a community college. And so no, that wasn't ever like a big topic other than I needed to make sure I had good grades.
Okay.
Um, and so the topic, but what I learned, my parents always had a second job, and it was always some form of multi-level marketing,
Hmm.
right? So it was, I don't even know if they're still around, but like Amway was
Wow.
one. They worked another, I can't remember. Anyways, it was another like health supplement thing that they did. But what I'm so grateful, I remember them being gone until 10 o'clock at night. And I was watching my brothers and sisters, but they would work during the day and they'd be gone until like
So
10
they had a
o'clock at
side
night.
hustle.
Oh, yeah, always.
That's awesome.
And I don't know if they ended up making a lot of money from it. Actually, I don't think they did. But what they got from that on a knowledge standpoint and how to teach us kids principles that would then create wealth was priceless.
Yeah. That's awesome. So you saw your parents, they taught you great principles. You saw them work hard, which is great, right? And then you did end up going to college, right? What did you do out of high school?
Out of high school, I went and served an LDS mission for my
Okay.
church service mission for 2 years. I think going back to that question, what were my goals, aspirations, dreams in high school?
Yeah.
I was just going to go on a church mission and then figure life out.
Yeah.
It was when I was on my mission that I was like, okay, I wanted to become somebody who people looked at like I wore a really nice suit, probably an attorney of some kind,
Yeah.
and that's in my head I was that's what I'm going to go to school for. Um, Not thinking anything past that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be always dressed up in a nice suit and looking great.
So you worked really hard on your mission, trying to sell Jesus for 2 years. You got
Yep.
a lot of rejection, which
Yep.
is why you ended up being a great salesman. And you came back to school. What'd you do after that? Did you go to school for a specific
I
degree?
went to school. No, not well. At the time, it was just generals. I couldn't. I literally could not pass my math class. Math 1050.
Okay.
Don't laugh like that.
Math 1010.
It's
Not
just-
even math
I
1010,
no,
math 50.
yeah, math 1050 four times.
Okay.
For 3 semesters, my fourth semester, I dropped out because I
Okay.
literally could not pass that class.
Okay.
I ended up, well, during that process, I ended up going and doing door-to-door sales, and but college I thought was going to be a good thing, and I ended up dropping out because
Okay.
I couldn't pass math, and I had an income that was coming in from sales that I felt like I'm going to run with this, and I'm going to run with it for as long as I can, and if I can't, and once it ends and it stops because the income was good, I'll figure out college or I'll figure out another way. But at the time, I just had my goggles on that I was going to go run with it,
Okay.
my blinders. Yeah.
So I'll cut you off there. So take us from that point then. So you got into door-to-door sales, which is crazy, right? I think a lot of people watching this are going to be like, that's nuts. You can't make money in door-to-door sales. We're gonna completely blow your minds on what this door-to-door
Yeah.
sales industry is and what it's been for us. But Braun and I together, just to update, this year alone we'll do about $90 million worth of contractual revenue
Yeah.
through our sales reps, right? For about 400 sales guys going door to door. $90 million brought into the company in a summer. We're talking summer sales, door to door
Four to
sales.
6 months.
It is incredible what a young, motivated, well-trained, good-looking college kid can do when he goes and knocks on a door and goes face to face with a total stranger and has a solution to a problem, which for us is home security and video surveillance, updating their surveillance and answering those needs at an affordable rate. And we sign contracts right then and there within 30 minutes, and we get it installed an hour later, right? So it's kind of the Wild West. We'll talk about that on another podcast. But how did you go from getting into sales, and why did you get into sales, to where we are today with this sales career?
So I was working at a company called, the Discover Card credit card company. I was working there.
Okay.
I was sitting next to somebody who would take a smoke break every 10 minutes, or sorry, a 10-minute smoke break like every hour, whatever. But I only got like one break and that like on a shift or something. And then I also find out that that person was making more than I was. And I was like, wait, I'm way more diligent than this. This is really not, I'm not loving the fact that I'm putting more effort in and getting less out of this. And then my buddy, he's like, hey, I heard you can go do door-to-door sales and make 30 grand in a summer. And I was like scam alert, right? Because at the time, $30,000 20 years ago
Yeah.
was like, that's a lot of money.
Yep.
In my head, I just thought, no way, there's no way. So I pushed it off. Well, enough of this with working at Discover Card really ate at me. And I went in for an interview when this is what broke the camel's back was I went into the interview. I'd been working really hard and they offered me, I think like, I don't know, 40-cent raise per hour. And I
Okay.
was
40
like,
cents an hour.
yeah,
Okay.
it's less than $1. I know that
Yeah.
40, 60 cents. It's like, you've got to be kidding me. What am I doing with my life? There's no way I'm going to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah. So it's a
And
dead end job.
dead end.
Were you single at the time or married?
Yeah, I was single.
Okay. You're single.
So my buddy actually reached out to me again, like a week later. He's like, we're starting in like 2 weeks. If you want to come, I was like, yeah, what the heck, let's go. And so, we ended up going and yeah, I made $35,000 my first summer.
Hey, so
I was like, what? Wait, what?
you hit that goal of what he recruited you to.
Yeah.
$30,000. You made 35,000 your first summer.
Yeah.
How old were you?
21.
21. And when you made that type of income in a summer, what did that do to your perspective of path or what's achievable? Like,
Everything changed. Everything that was going on in my head completely was turned upside down. The lid that was right here at the time, gone. Like I couldn't even see the lid
yeah,
because because I didn't believe. I mean, I just went out there to work hard. I knew I could work hard and I knew I could have good attitude. Those are the two things I knew I could control. Those are the two things I did. And then the outcome was $35,000. And that is when everything changed. So it was my goals changed. It was like, okay, working there, they showed me a path and how I could get to a six-figure income. And it was like, whoa, and during the next couple of years is also when I was going to college and things were going good. And that's why I ended up dropping out.
yeah. So you're a college dropout.
Yep. College dropout.
Okay. You've done pretty good with yourself for yourself financially and with your career, but just for clarification for this, door-to-door sales is not an MLM. Okay.
Oh no. Yeah.
You did not have to sign up any money or do anything to go make money, right?
Right. Yeah.
You literally are taught a skill, which is this is your product. This is how you do an approach. This is how you do a presentation. This is how you close. And the better you get at overcoming objections and connecting with people and closing sales, the more money you make, right? You
Yep.
didn't have to sign up for anything. You didn't have to pay for anything. And you were able to go out there, knock on a stranger's door, convert that to a sale, and made $35,000, which is probably back in the day, probably 75 customers in a summer. Is that about right?
It's 100.
100 customers. So you did 100 customers just like that. And so many people get this confused that this is an MLM. It is nothing about MLM. This is
It's straight
hardware,
commission. You
straight
work
commission
hard,
sales.
and that's where I was getting to. That 40-cent raise, or sorry, that gal who was working next to me, taking a smoke break all the time, getting paid more than me. My efforts were not, I was not getting out of it.
Yep.
And this is when I realized that my effort could get me back what I felt like I was worth at the time.
Yep.
And that's when that was remarkable for me.
That's when Tony Robbins' book, Awaken the Giant Within, awoke for Braun.
Yeah.
Right. And it was the same for me. Like a taste of commissions where I could increase my efforts, increase my inputs, get better at a skill than the guy sitting across from me meant I can make more money than him. That drove me so hard in sales. So fast forward, I'll kind of just fast forward this part to where we're at today. You've done sales now almost 20 years, right? This door-to-door sales industry. You go from being a sales rep to what? Being a team leader, like an assistant manager.
So yeah, just kind of climb, you just kind of, as you do well, mind you, we're 100% commission, 100%, and have been for 20 years.
Yep.
But you sell well. The next position is, again, it's not just sales. If you want to grow in in the company we were working for, you had to also build your own team.
Okay.
Like you had to go and find people that wanted to do the exact same thing. So that's why people confuse it with MLM, multi-level.
Your team building.
But yeah, but that's what we do. I mean, just like I think I look at it more of like it's my own business. It's an entrepreneurial type thing. It's not MLM. This is my business. This is how I want to operate it. And if I operate it at the highest level, then I can get paid at a very high level.
Yep.
So I had to recruit a team. I had to teach them how to sell a product. And then I had to teach, and then they had to sell a lot, but then I had to teach those people how to do the same thing. And it was then now advanced to now we teach leaders how to lead.
Yep. So you went from, and this is where I'll brag about Braun a little bit. You went from just being a good sales rep to being a young team leader, and you probably had to learn about leadership and what that meant. Then you became a manager, which as a team leader and manager, all that means is you're taking a rookie, a friend, you're teaching him a skill. And if he goes out and works hard and you mentor him and coach him on how to do this job at a high level, if he gets a sale, you make an override on that sale, right? If he makes no sales, you make no override. So the better teacher you are, the better mentor you are, the better coach you are, the more money you can make in overrides, right? So my father-in-law was a GM dealer for Ford and truck, all these auto dealerships forever. It's the exact same job. He's a GM. He has to hire sales guys. The more trucks they sell, the more money he makes as a GM, right? It's a commission-based job. So opposite of an MLM, you have to train and develop salespeople. The better they are at doing this job, the more money you make as a sales manager. Different thing about Braun, and I worked with Braun forever. Forever, Braun was also not only a manager, he was one of the top sales guys in our group every year. Every year, you and I were competing as like the top sales guys.
Yeah.
And that also drove our friendship and that kind of stuff. But we were always competing against each other to be the top sales guys in our whole organization. Even though we were the leaders, we were the managers, we're still the best at sales. And when you get really good at that, like you did, you're not only growing a sales rep, but you're developing them into sales leaders and eventually into managers. And you've grown this to as many teams and leaders as you have now. And together, what we've grown together is how we're in the position we're in right now.
Yeah. It supported us, over 20 years or 15 years of hard work and 100% commission. We've been able to branch out into these other things, which is great. But that's the job, right? That's what we did to kind of create us as who we are.
Now that we know you kind of your path on what you've accomplished in sales and building a sales organization, a successful sales organization, throughout that time, you've now had a family and started multiple businesses, obviously a successful investor, but this isn't top 1%er wealth creation course. This is a life by design in all aspects of your lives. That's what we really want to drive home. How are you able to build a successful career and have one of the most beautiful and loving and perfect families that I've ever met. Like, how did you accomplish both of those things together as you were going through this path?
I think it begins with knowing what you want at the end. Like what do I want to what do I want to be in 20 years from now? There's one thing I did learn from, that billionaire you're talking about, Todd Peterson, who was the founder of the company we work for. He always talked about how his vision was never big enough. And that's actually one thing I've done okay with, is thinking, where do I want to be in 20 years with my family and with my relationships with them? And if I think about where I want to be, like when my daughter is 20, when my son is 20, and when they are, married and have kids and that kind of thing, how do I want them to view me as a dad? And as we've grown with our kids, how do I want my wife to view me as a husband? And if I think about that first, it helps me in my daily actions to make sure I'm going on that path. There's a lot of course correction all the time, but that's how I start, is where do I want to be long, way down the road from now? And
Yeah.
how do I want them to look at me?
I've learned a ton from you, Braun, being your best bud for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Um, did you carry journals that you write to your kids when you're traveling and on the roads, right? Memories about your kids and personal notes to your kids. You do so many things that you can tell as a father and as a husband that you're being very intentional with your things. You've thought through this stuff. I feel like the audience that's watching this right now and that knows you, knows your wife, knows your family, or gets to know you through social media, they're going to be intrigued by that as well. And that's what I'm most excited about, this planner that we've come out with that's sitting there next to you, is we have this planner
Yeah. This
that
thing is, I think this is going to change a lot of lives.
this is going to change lives, dude. And this is being intentional with every aspect of your life. And a big part of that is, it is your career, but it's also your relationships, being intentional with your relationships. And I feel like you've done so good of that with your family. Do you feel like that is a big part of your success as a family, is that you've been intentional with your relationships? You've thought out and visualized what you need those relationships to look like and how they need to be, so that you can model that day by day instead of just accidentally ending up where you don't want to be 5 years down the road.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. If things are in array at home, I literally cannot function. I have the hard, if my wife is mad at me for something, I don't function very well in any other area. And my wife, she knows this. And there's times when I like shut down because of something maybe I did or whatever, but that's going on at home. And because that matters so much to me, I have to make sure that things are good there so that I can perform at a high level over here. It's crucial for me anyway. Some people are different, but for me, that part is crucial.
I love it. This is an introduction to Braun Thueson. There's so much more coming from his knowledge and his family in later podcasts, but thanks for sharing your story with us, Braun.
Thanks, man. This is awesome.